All right. Hi, I'm Rachel from the Coburg Public Library, and I have with me today Brianna Petersen, who is the creator of the coveted Unwrapped box, which contains beautiful handmade goods from our local community and beyond. So today we're interviewing Brianna about how she started Unwrapped. We're both at home, so if you hear anything in the background, we apologize. We both have little dogs. So anyways, I will let Brianna do her own introduction and we'll start talking from there. So take it away.
Awesome. Thank you, Rachel. So hello, everybody. This is my first time on Zoom, so I'm trying to look at the camera, look at Rachel, not look at myself. So I'm the creator of Unwrapped. Unwrapped was launched in September of 2019. And every month I curate boxes full of local goods. Anywhere from 5 to 7 items are in each box. Each box is a complete surprise, so no one has any idea when they purchase what's going to be inside. There's also 1 to 2 vouchers inside. So we came to realize that sometimes someone can't offer a product. Maybe they have a service or an experience, or their products are too big. So there's the opportunity for vouchers. And really my goal was to produce a box with local items so that I could introduce the public to all of these amazing local small businesses that maybe you've never heard of, or you had no idea, you thought they only made one product, they make a whole bunch of different products. And I also wanted to share their story. So it's not just about their products, it's, you know, how they got started, what do they do on a Sunday morning, what's their work life like, you know, do they have another job as well as this? So I also wanted to share their stories. So everybody kind of wins there. You get a package of goodies. It all kind of started when I was at home on maternity leave with a baby who did not sleep and did not like the car. So
deadly combo.
There were very few options of things I could do. Yeah. So I realized that I love getting packages, like loved it. I already had a shopping problem before. So I started looking, and I only really knew about like big box stores. So I started going to markets and thinking like, wow, there's just so much here that a lot of people don't know about. Even just like my friends, you know, I would tell them about things and they had no idea what I was talking about, or my family. I'm like, how do people not know about these awesome makers? So yeah, that's kind of where it started. And I hoped that everyone would like a surprise. And I definitely think, or I definitely know that most people are excited because they have no idea what's inside. And each month is totally different.
Absolutely. I mean, I am getting one for May, and I'm very excited to see what's in it. And I know that a couple of my library sisters have gotten Unwrapped boxes, and we're all like, oh, what's in it this month? And it's like this
awesome.
You know, not just the person who got it, but other people are looking forward to it. And
Oh, go ahead.
So it's okay.
Oh, I was just saying, this time especially, like, you can't leave your house, you can't really go anywhere, you can't go shopping. I don't know, for me, shopping is a bit of an outlet. So how easy is it to just go online to like Old Navy or the Gap or a big, you know, store? Whereas with this, you're still supporting local. And I found that there's been a lot of gifts. A lot of people are gifting them just as a thank you or thinking of you. So that's the notes I read and the comments when people buy are amazing. They truly make my day.
Oh, it must feel good too to be doing something that you know is good for the community. And was that something that you thought about, I guess, before you got into creating Unwrapped?
So I feel like there's a whole bunch of different variables that came together. If you asked me 2 years ago, I would never have had this idea. I would never have had I never thought I could own my own business. Like my fiance, not because I can't, because I didn't want to, because I hadn't found the thing I was passionate about. My fiance is self-employed, and you know, he does his own hours and he's working all the time. But I'm like, you know, if I own my own business, I probably wouldn't get anything done. That is the complete opposite. I feel like if I'm not parenting Isla, I'm working, but I love it. So if you find something you truly love, like I get excited when Isla goes for a nap. So like today, today's not the most exciting thing, but today I'm doing labels so that I can do a final count from May's edition. So that's kind of one of my organizing ways. But, or if I'm writing stories, if I'm writing people's bios, then yeah, I kind of got a little sideways there. But it started from that. And then I also came, I don't think many people know this, but I came from the corporate world. I went on mat leave and I was a financial advisor at TD. So I was good at my job. I liked what I did. I loved my clients and I loved my Coburg branch. I loved the staff. Like I can't tell you enough how much I love my team. Things were changing a little bit when I was leaving, and I went on mat leave, and Isla just became my priority. And I knew within a month or two of having her that if I went back to the bank, one, of course, I'd be missing her, but two, I knew that I wouldn't be able to put the effort into being an advisor, having Isla at home. Because I used to stay late for customers if they, you know, a mortgage needed to be done. I wasn't going to do that because I wanted to go home. So I knew I couldn't be the best at that job anymore. It just, that my time was done. So I thought, what the heck can I do? And I even said to my friends on a walk, you know, I really like the Nooks. I really like the Nooks in Port Hope. I love that store, and I really wish I could create something so that I could be in that store. And we laughed about it, and I was like, no, I can't make anything. Like, I can't knit, I can't sew. I'm sure I could, but I don't want to. And then one day, I remember it clearly, I got one of the FabFitFun boxes because I love shopping. And I'd been getting them for, like, you get them every 3 months, but they always had like face products, and my face is so sensitive, and it was always body products. I'm like, why isn't, and of course not local. I'm just not really into it anymore. And I turned to Matt with Isla in my arms, as usual, saying like, I bet I could just make a box of local, like with local stuff. I think people would like it. Why not? And he's like, oh my gosh, you should do it. And I actually stopped and laughed like so hard at myself and said, yeah, right. Yeah, right. Whatever. And he was so positive about it. Like, no, Brie, you could totally do that. Like, yeah. So anyways, it stuck in my mind for like a good month. I couldn't stop thinking about it. So I just started writing things down. And then I started researching. And then I researched every business I could research because Isla was always in my arms. So I always had my phone and she was always sleeping in my arms. I had nothing else to do. So I researched and followed on my personal page every business I could think of, and I watched them. I watched what they did. I watched their social media. I watched the good. I watched the bad. I wrote things down, and so that was in about February of 2019. In May in 2019, I contacted my friend May, and I said, I need a logo. I need to know how to do this. I'm gonna try this with a 6-month-old. And we spent a couple months, you know, we took our time. I never wanted to take away the parenting. Like, I still wanted to be full-time with Isla. And I just did it whenever I had the time. And we decided to launch in September because I don't know, it was, why not? There was a whole bunch of other things happening. I might as well add that in too. we launched, and here we are. And I launched with 30 boxes, a limited amount, and they sold out. Was that the month they sold out in 24 or 48 hours? Yeah, 24 hours they sold out.
And how did that feel to have that support, like not just from Matt, who is your fiance, but from the community and your community, like to have it all fly off of the virtual market so quickly?
I was astonished. Like, I knew I had researched a lot for, 4 to 6 months, but I was in such a corporate world. I just never paid attention, and I had no idea what kind of community we had. I had no idea. I was so thankful. I'm sure I cried a lot, happy tears. And I was like, okay, like I can do this. This is totally doable, and I'm having so much fun with it. Like,
I think that from what I'm seeing, like that really is one of the key things to what sets an independent business owner who's a success apart is they have to truly love it, because it becomes almost weaved into the fabric of your day-to-day life, your family, everything you do, especially in a small town. You are a walking representation of Unwrapped, and if you don't love it, then
it shows.
Yeah, it does.
It really does. And it does show even, when I was doing my research and knowing what I was looking for, you can pinpoint the people who are really into it and the people who aren't. And it's okay if it's a side hustle and you can't, you have a full-time job. Like, that's okay. That shows too, and that's great. But when you truly love it, it shines.
Mm-hmm.
It definitely. And having the community, I mean, the people who were reaching out to me, like, I looked up to them as businesses. Like, I still look up to them. I couldn't believe some of the people contacting me who wanted to be part of Unwrapped. I was like, what is happening? This is crazy. I'm just one person, but with all the passion and, it's definitely far from perfect. I would say every month, if not every week, I'm constantly having to change things. Oh, that didn't work. All right, we're gonna try it this month instead. I was told when I worked at TD from my boss, he was such a great mentor to me, that if you're not learning something every day, like, what's the point? Like, you should be learning something every single day. Yeah.
That's really well said. Yeah. And I was going to ask you, when you started Unwrapped, what were some of the first things that you looked into? I know that you said that you started watching other businesses and you spoke with your friend about kind of creating more of a branding. But, if you could go back and kind of describe, like, even just the first 5 steps you would have taken, what would those have been?
Like, if I changed it, you think?
Yeah.
So to me, a name is the base, and that's just me. I think everyone's going to be different of how they create a business. To me, I needed a name. That was my foundation, and I wouldn't change that. That is what I started with, was a name. I wanted it simple. I wanted one word. That's something that my fiance and I did together. And then with that foundation, I wanted a logo. So these are things I wouldn't redo because I'm a very visual person. So I needed to see it perfectly. So that's the first thing we did. May and I went back and forth with the logo, and honestly, it was done really quickly. I gave her a bunch of boards off of Pinterest. I gave her a bunch of colors I wanted and said, I don't know, create a few things. We changed the font a couple times, I think, but those were my foundation, and that's what I needed. I was really, really hung up on a website. Mind you, I'm an online business, but if I were to go back, she gave me the best tutorial ever. Like, she's amazing. I would be less hung up on it. I'm such a perfectionist that before I launched, it had to be perfect. I think instead of having like 5 different pages on my website, I could have had one.
Okay.
And launched that first and then built off of that. But instead I spent like 30 hours building this website, which doesn't sound like a lot, but it is when you have I don't know, she was like 9 months old at the time.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot when you only work when she sleeps and she doesn't sleep.
Absolutely. And your friend May, is she a graphic designer? Is she in marketing?
Yeah, so she's a graphic, she's in marketing and graphic design at Creative Collective downtown Coburg, but she just had a baby on May 3rd. So please do not message her. She is on maternity leave right now. You can have her when she is done.
There you go.
Congratulations to May. She had a beautiful baby boy. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. So another thing that I think a lot of people might be wondering is what advice you would have for someone interested in starting their own small business.
Just do it. Like, just go for it. I mean, I was lucky enough I was on maternity leave, so I didn't have to worry about another job. So if you have another job, that's okay. Just start something. If you really want to do it, you will want to do it on your spare time. Mm-hmm. Mind you, you do have to have time for yourself. I've had to learn that it's not just about the business and being a parent, and it's also spending time with your family and just having you time. But I mean, why not? Just start with something. Start with your foundation, whatever that might be for you. For me, it was a name and a logo. For you, maybe it's a website, or maybe it's a product. You want to start with the product first and you have no idea what to call yourself. But do the research, do a little bit of research, and just go for it. There's nothing to lose.
That's great advice. Yeah, we were talking a little bit earlier before we started recording about working from home, and I think it's a good thing to talk about the fact that you're a mother, you're a fiance, you're a daughter, like you own a business. How are you managing all of that during isolation and working from home and things like that? Like, I know that you generally work from home, but how has this changed that for you?
So before COVID, at the very beginning of Unwrapped, I was able to do a lot when Isla did sleep a little bit more because she was younger. So I would work on her naps, and there were less boxes, right? Mm-hmm. So I'd work on her naps and when she went to bed, and it started to get into, my plan wasn't to send Isla to daycare, and we aren't at this point. So we're lucky enough to have Matt's parents live next door, and my mom is about to move like 6 minutes down the road.
Amazing.
But they have offered to take Isla out once a week, and that's what was happening. So my mom would help out. Maybe it was on the weekends when she wasn't working, and Matt's mom is retired, so his mom and dad would watch her. It was so easy. And then Matt would take the time too. So because he's self-employed, he could kind of move things around if we planned it. So I mean, I could get a good solid at least 2 full days a week in, plus nap and bedtime. So that was awesome. And I didn't realize how helpful that was until COVID, especially on Boxing Day and Delivery Day. Like, wow. The last 2 months of boxing has been a lot. I'm so thankful that the Nooks in Port Hope, that's kind of my hub. I've moved it so that I can do my boxes there, which is amazing. I don't have a toddler and a drooly dog near anything, which makes me feel much better. But Isla can't go anywhere but with her dad or myself, right? And I was also getting help with the boxes. Matt's aunt was helping me. So it's just myself, Matt, and Isla. I do as much work from home as I can. I used to go to cafes or go to the Nooks and work, and now I do it from home. I'll admit sometimes Isla has a little bit of extra TV time because I have to get stuff done. In the mornings, maybe half an hour, I try to check my emails, and that's just what we have to do now. I was trying not to do that, but during COVID, I have to not feel mom guilt. So if any moms out there who are working at home, good for you. And if you're teaching, because like I have one toddler and I get nothing done, or it feels like it. And when we do boxing, Matt's just really stepped up. He has been delivering a lot of the boxes so that I can stay with Isla. Without him, I would have a crying toddler in the back seat while I delivered boxes.
Like, I think that that's a huge component of having a business, is getting that support from those around you, and also just having that passion and drive that people like you have.
Absolutely. And you know what, I have to thank too, the makers are amazing. They've been like working extra fast, because when I do the boxing days, it's taking me a couple extra days to do them, because of childcare. And I have to thank the customers. I was only having one delivery day, and Matt and I we would drive for sometimes 7 hours each and just spend it was kind of awesome. It was like, I just got to sit in my car and listen to music. So it's kind of great. Mm-hmm. So now though, we can't do that because the two of us would split up and we'd go separate ways, and deliver all day. And now we've had to, break it down into, you might get your box on Monday, but you might not get yours till Thursday. Mm-hmm. And everyone's been so understanding of that. And I just try not to reveal anything until the last person has received their box.
That's a great.
So thank you.
I love it. Yeah. So another question that people might have is, what's the toughest part of running your own business, and what's the most gratifying part of it on the flip side?
So I think the toughest part for me is I'm very good with time management, but I lose track of time. And sometimes I find that whenever Isla's sleeping, all I'm doing is working, and I'm not taking the time for myself or to spend with Matt, or we can't do anything else right now, go out for, a drink with friends or something. But even before then, it's you're at home. So everything I need to work is here, other than when it's boxing time and it's all at the Nooks, but it's hard to turn it off. It's hard because your cell phone is your contact to your family and your friends. Mm-hmm. It's also your contact to your email and your business, and phone calls and problems or no problems or questions. And it's really hard to keep my phone away from me and spend quality time. So yeah, turning it off is definitely hard.
I think so many people can identify with that, whether they own a business or not. But it mm-hmm. is amplified when you do own a business, because mm-hmm. most people have one cell phone. They don't have separate cell phones. So yeah, and especially now.
Especially now. And that's your only way of communicating with the world. So I have actually turned some of my notifications off. My email is one of them. And I check it when Isla's napping and when Isla goes to bed. That's it. Unless there's an emergency and someone, will deal with it. It doesn't happen often, but people, like, you just have to wait. And waiting 12 hours some people wait days for an email. Right?
It's not the end of the world, especially not right now.
Exactly. So I've had to tell myself that it's okay. They can wait for a few hours. But the most gratifying thing, honestly, is even though I'm not seeing the people, it's the connections I'm making, whether it be with the makers and businesses or the customers. Like, I have the most awesome conversations with people, and people you know, whether they tell me something good or they tell me something I could work on, anything, it always develops into a conversation that's like, yeah, I'm doing this like for me and for everybody. Like everyone's loving it. I'm loving it. I'm meeting such cool people and I'm hearing such amazing stories. I've found people have really opened up, especially the more personable I am, which can be hard to do that on social media. Then people start opening up to me. And that's actually what I loved about being a financial advisor. I liked when people came in my office and we didn't talk about banking. When you told me stories of your weekend or maybe even a problem, like let's talk through it. And those were the best moments.
Just building that actual community, like even if it's through social media, it's still building a community.
Totally.
So speaking of social media, is that primarily the way that you advertise?
Yes.
Yeah.
Facebook and Instagram primarily. There are a few other things in the works right now that you guys will just have to wait and see.
Stay tuned.
Yeah, stay tuned. You will know in the next few weeks.
So if people want to find you online, where can they find you?
So on Instagram, it's unwrapped._. Facebook is Unwrapped Experience, or if you just type in Unwrapped, I'm right there too. Or unwrappedexperience.com is the website. So the website has all of the details. It has, you know, shipping locations, costs, when COVID is not here, all the pickup locations for everything. It has past boxes if you want to take a look at what past editions look like. There's a page for that. There's also, you can contact me if you have any questions. I mean, you can contact me through Instagram too, whatever is easier. There's also an application. So if you're a business or a maker and you want to apply to be an Unwrapped, that's also on the website as well.
That's great. So is there anything else that we might have missed? I just want to make sure everything's covered.
I don't think so.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, thank you so much for having me. This was awesome. This is the first time I've gotten ready in like, since I boxed the last time. So what, 3-4 weeks? So thank you.
Well, you look gorgeous and thank you for joining us. And yeah, like definitely reach out to Brianna. She's wonderful for any sort of information that you might want on Unwrapped, or if you just want to connect, she's there for you and she is local, so reach out. Anyways, bye everyone, and thanks again, Brianna.
Bye, thank you so much.